This channel is supported by my online fishing courses at saltstrong.com/Skinner, as well as my books. And hey, these books make great Father's Day gifts. You can learn more about the books at johnskinnerfishing.com and on Amazon. All right, good morning. Yeah, heading out to the bass rips. A nice overcast day. We'll see what happens. The wind's supposed to come up a little bit, but not too bad. So I'm going to catch some fish. I hate to be that confident, but I'm going to catch fish. It'd be nice to get some big ones. We'll see. Okay, going to do something a little bit different. Once I get there and get set up for three-way bucktailing, I'm going to show you the first 20 drifts unedited. So going to be a little rough around the edges, but you're going to get to see the whole thing. I will narrate over some parts to fill in gaps, because I'm not really talking while I'm fishing. I'm very focused on what I'm doing. But yeah, you'll get to see everything that's happening. All right, I will have links to all of the gear in the video description, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. And this is Eastern Long Island. This is Plum Gut. There's no secrets here. This is a very well-known striped bass rip. And all right, so let's get going. All right, I've decided I'm not going to use that stern camera for this, because I want you to be able to see the fish finder, which, you're not going to see it all of the time, but you're going to see it quite a bit. I can tell you, as I'm fishing, and you'll notice this, I'm going to be like staring at that thing the whole time, because I'm watching the bottom contour. I'm watching for when I'm going over fish. And it's certainly on the right-hand side of the screen. You're definitely, if nothing else, you're going to be able to see that bottom line. You're going to be able to see when that bottom is rising, when it's falling. I'm fishing anywhere between like 95 and 40 feet of water here, so it's very up and down. And yeah, this is a brand new unit, so it's really crisp. It's a Humminbird Explorer. It's the 10-inch. You'll see the rig plenty, three-way swivel. About a foot off of that is a 8-ounce Cannonball sinker, and on about 5 feet of 80-pound leader material, fluorocarbon in this case, doesn't have to be fluorocarbon, goes out to about a 1-ounce bucktail. Drop it to the bottom, pick it up, hold it. This is why you're seeing me looking at that fish finder all of the time, because as that thing is rising, you're going to see me take cranks. Crank, stay up off the bottom, bottom's rising. I don't want to get hung up. If you drag bottom here, you will lose your gear. If you're careful, you won't lose any gear. And then, hey, I can see when I'm into fish, and just be ready. There is quite a sizable fleet east of me. I am starting well away from that, but yeah, that's not going to last. They'll slide over, and that's going to be part of the trip, is maneuvering amongst the boats. And by the way, this is the Dark Matter Skinner Jig and Bounce M. It's the fluke rod, basically, although it's a lot more than just a fluke rod. I use it in here for bass all the time. It's just a one-off, different color. All right, yeah, target species is striped bass. Is going to be a real mix of sizes here, which makes it fun. You never know when you can get a big one. And so I've got the barb quite crushed down on this bucktail to facilitate unhooking. And yeah, that helps it. That's going to be about as small as I'm going to catch right there. There's a dangerous rip in the back of this. Other than a Sea-Doo Fish Pro that sometimes fishes here, whenever I fish here, I am the smallest boat. This boat is 16 feet 4 inches. It's a Grumman 1986. It's called a 5.0 meter boat. It's deep, it's wide. I've got a 70 Yamaha on here, and it's a great combination for doing this. I feel very comfortable, very safe in it. but I've got to watch that back rip. We're going to have tide speeds that are going to reach, current speeds are going to reach 4.8 miles an hour. It's a very, very fast rip in here. That's why you're going to see me doing what I just did, unhook a fish, run right back to the top of the rip. Among the many things I like about this boat is, it only weighs like 850 pounds, and I forget what the motor weight is. I think it's 263. This is a very light package, so I'm not displacing a lot of water, so I'm not making a wake, so I don't really have to be concerned with waking anybody. I couldn't make a wave with this boat if I tried, so yeah, that's another nice thing about it. So you see the distance I covered there, right? That what I just ran was the distance of the drift from the top of the drift to where I unhooked that fish and came back up. Right, now what you're going to see here is so important. I don't think you can read the left-hand side of that screen. Maybe. I could tell you the green that you see, those are previous tracks. The red are my more recent tracks over the last couple of trips. I'm going to take great care to position my drifts where I want them, where I think the fish are going to be. So you're going to see me slow down. If somebody's in my way, I'll wait for them to drift by, make sure I get onto the spot. Well, just a little technical thing here. I reset my camera every drift because I don't want a trip to be like huge video files. So every drift you'll see me reach up, click the camera. I'm just making a new video clip on each drift just to makes the editing easier. So I'm addicted to using the Maxell reels for this because they've got a thumb bar on there. I mean, it's a heavy duty reel, but it's got a thumb bar. So I can control that clutch without any hand movement, hardly at all. My thumb goes under or over that thumb bar, click, 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 and I can control the clutch, so it's perfect for this. It's got a great drag. It's just absolutely ideal. And I'm using the Maxell Hybrid 25 spooled with 30-pound test Seaguar Smackdown, the bright green line. Yeah, there's that nearly barbless hook doing its job. And yeah, the important thing for me is, like I said, I'm drifting towards that back rip. The faster I can unhook a fish and get out of there, the better. Hey, there's that Sea-Doo Fish Pro. Like I said, that's the small. If that's not here, then I'm always the smallest boat. But he's clearly the smallest craft. And yeah, it's an interesting thing. That craft does. I got to try one out one time. It certainly was a fun time. What was there, 2 of them in there? Yeah, it could be. Yeah, look at that old lures up there, that boat. Oh, come on, look up. If I can look up, I'll get it in the frame. There he is. He's right at the top of the frame. I just pointed out because it just reminds me of being a little kid. Like, that, I don't know, that boat must be like 40 or 50 years old. There it is. Yeah, you just don't see them anymore. When I was a kid, that was like, you know, if somebody had a big boat, that was probably it, like a 30-foot lure. So you don't get to see them too often anymore. Okay, I'm fixated on that bottom line of the fish finder because I can see the bottom is sloping up, coming up, coming up. So you're going to see me take a couple quick cranks. There you go. Still coming up, coming up, coming up. Take a couple cranks. If I don't do that, I'm going to drag bottom. I'm going to lose my rig. It's 3 in a row. Better fish. On the end of the bucktail is a 5-inch split tail fat cow jig strip. Again, I'll have links to all the gear in the video description. Something hugely important here. When I get to where I want to be, I'm going to put that boat in reverse and stop it. It's even so much more important for a fiberglass boat because a fiberglass boat's got weight to it and it's going to be carrying. And if you don't do that, you just when you drop down, your line's going to scope. You're not going to be where you want to be. You've got to stop the boat by putting it in reverse. So that's what you see me doing there. Four in a row. So somebody in the comments is going to ask why I'm not putting the rod in the rod holder. I'm putting it down because it's quicker. The cannonball sinker isn't wiggling around. Just put it in place it's ready to go at the top of the drift when I pick it up again, and it's all good. Alright, so this boat's right where I want to be. Yeah, and this is going to happen, right? Well, I don't want to do a different drift. I want to do that drift. So I'm going to go up. I don't want to go way up ahead of him, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up a respectable distance, and I'm just going to hang out a little bit. Because, remember, he's drifting back. In this area, he's probably drifting about 3 miles an hour. So I'm just going to go up here, dawdle just a little bit, just to give us some separation. And then I'll set up and get going. That's what I'm doing, just taking my time, just kind of stemming the current a little bit, let him drift back a little bit, and then I'll get going. Okay, I did wave back. Yeah, it's a Connecticut headboat. Five in a row. Yeah, that's a big one. Let's get a look at this one and put him back. Now, etiquette-wise, what you should never do is stop right behind somebody right in their drift path. Of course, you know, if somebody goes hundreds of yards way up, yeah, you know, then I guess you'd be stopping short of them because you can't expect to, you know, there's a boat way, way up there. You know, I don't want to go all the way up there. If I was to stop here, I would kind of be okay. You know, there's some subjectiveness to it, but you know, in general, you don't want to stop right behind somebody's boat, right where they're going to drift and fish. So lots of things to think about when you come up to the top of the drift, besides trying to get on the spot where you want to be. Six in a row, and this was kind of a lucky hookup. Yeah, it's funny if you watch other people's fishing videos. They're talking while they're fishing. They're basically the guys who do this sort of thing. They're out there doing a TV show, and I just can't get in that frame of mind. You know, some of the younger guys I think have probably done more fishing with a camera than they have without a camera. Whereas, you know, I fished like 40 plus years before ever videoing any of it. So I am just laser focused on the fishing, all the aspects of that, and I don't talk. So, you're seeing an unedited video here, other than me narrating over it, and I don't say a thing, which is not what I think if you're out there doing TV shows, you should be talking, or I don't know. I can't do it. I'm thinking too much about the fishing. Yeah, I'll set up, put a camera on my head, stick one off the back of the boat until it runs out of batteries, and that's about as much as I'm going to do, and hopefully I get good content.
All right, 7 in a row. Ah, perfect.
So how you drop down is important. I mean, when you first put that rig in the water, just, a little sanity check, make sure it all looks right, and then drop it pretty fast. And I say drop it fast because if you're going fast, you will absolutely 100% know when you hit bottom, because that's the most important thing. When you're drifting along at over 3 miles an hour, a very common thing for people who aren't experienced at this kind of fishing is they don't know when they hit bottom, because you don't get a big differential in the drop versus just the drift speed. So if you drop fast, boom, you know when you hit bottom, and you engage your reel and take a couple of cranks. But you have to make sure your rig looks good when it goes down, and then it's all going to work out.
Maybe not this trip. Nope. 8 in a row. Nine in a row.
Hey, don't use the pre-cut hole if there is one. You know, put your own hole in there. Hey, and obviously you can tell how easily those fish are released. It's not much of a barb on there, but you have to have a little bit of barb, else the strip can slide off. I'm off the drift this time. You can't always stop where you want. There's other boats, obviously. This looks good though. Not where I want to be here. Good enough though. It's 10 drifts in a row. How you doing? Very good. By the way, I have almost a 20-mile round trip to this spot, and I can fish like, usually when I fish this, you're not going to see 4.5 hours here, obviously. I'm just going to show you the 20 drifts, but if I put in 4.5 hours plus that 20-mile round trip, I'm going to burn a little bit over 5 gallons. I've never gone through a 6-gallon can of gas doing this, which is just remarkable. And it amazes me because you do so much running up into the current. And the current, like I said, on this trip, it's going to hit 4.8 miles an hour. The Yamaha just sips fuel. 11. 11 in a row. I thought I did well the other day. I had 9 out of 11. Man. A little better. All right, the battery was getting low, so what I did was I run way up past everybody and do battery changes, whatever else I need to do. So, okay, fresh battery, back at the top of the drift. Good drift. Ooh, really coming up. Really coming up. Oh, that's 12. Wasn't even a good hook set. Hook is very sharp, has no barb, so has very little barb. Yeah, you heard me say good drift there. You know, there's some approximations to this whole thing. You're not stopping in the exact same spot every time. You can't because there's other boats. There's some variation in the current. As the current changes speed, the direction changes a little bit. There's a breeze, all of that added in. But when you look at your plotter, on the plotter side, I've got, a green line is showing the direction of the boat, and I can see those red streaks. I don't know if you can see them on the left-hand side of the plotter. Those are my drift lines all tight together. I can see that green streak going right down the middle of those red lines where I want to be, and that's why I said, yeah, good drift. Yeah, so I'd kind of like to be like between these guys. So on the other hand, I don't want to short drift them, but then I'm also thinking, well, one's to my left, one's to my right. I'm not really short drifting. But then, you know what? Let's just motor up slowly, and that's what I'll do. I'll just go up. I'll let them pass. Had I shut down there, I don't think I would have been on either one of their drift lines. But yeah, I don't want to do it. Don't want to be close. Yeah, so my Humminbird unit's got this new Humminbird Coastmaster Northeast card in it. So it's, it shows all of the structure beautifully. In reality, I've buried it here because, like when you look over at my plotter side, when you do get the glance at, you're seeing either green or red. Green are previous drifts. There you go. Red are two areas that I like to drift, that I've been drifting recently. So, yes, if I cleared my tracks, you would see beautiful representation of the structure here, but I really like to see my previous drifts. I don't want to clear the tracks from this area, so that's what you're seeing. But that Coastmaster card is great in areas that I'm not, familiar with, or certainly haven't buried in track lines. It's a great thing. Missed that one. Yeah, it was a clean hit. That's 14 in a row. Oh, I dropped them. Oh well, hooked 14. Hooked up 14 drifts in a row. Just not quite over yet. Oh. Alright, I'm out of here. I don't need to be fighting a fish in that. Alright. Alright, well. I want you back there. Yeah, maybe you heard me say, yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah, I don't want to be fighting a fish back there. Yeah, because the rip's back there. And yeah, probably if I kept drifting, I'd have a good chance of hooking a fish. But then I have to fight it in that rip, which you have not seen and you will not see in this video, because what I'm doing is when I catch a fish, I don't try to catch a second fish on the drift. I go right back up. That's keeping me up into some, really beautiful, calm water other than boat waves up here. But trust me, the back of the rip, yeah, I don't want any part of that. If I was to end up back there, I'll survive. I'll be okay, but it's best to avoid it. So here's something that adds a little dimension to the boat positioning. So I've got this big charter boat. That's a real classic charter boat, by the way. What used to be in Montauk. Anyway, I haven't seen him so far on this trip. At least I haven't noticed him. So what he's doing is he's power trolling a little bit. So he's using his motors to kind of propel, just have a little bit of push down current, and it helps with his client's line in the back, which is I guess why they do this. But anyway, I wasn't anticipating him turning into me. Not a big deal. I'll just go up and go around them. But that's what he's doing. These guys know what they're doing. You just and now that I know he does that, when I see him at the top of the drift again, I'll just assume he's going to turn that way to power drift down the drift line. A little off because I'm blocked from doing what I wanted, but we'll see. Still in a good zone. Rough back there in the back of the rip. Well, it's 15 hookups on 15 drifts. weed. Come on, this is my fault here. Turn the wheel when you stop. Yeah, besides stopping the boat by putting it in reverse at the top of the drift, turn that wheel into the wind so you drift more broadside. Otherwise, it pushes you, you just sail. That's what I'm complaining to myself about, that I didn't turn the wheel. Good drift. I'm just hoping I didn't pick up weed on that drag. That would break my streak. Wow. Drift speed 4.7 miles an hour. So make that 16 hookups in a row. So that's cool. That big boat hardly threw any weight. I'm sure he knew that too. This guy really came up. The big ones come up. Bluefish come up too, but I haven't seen any. Oh, perfect. I can get out of here. Yeah, you might recall at the top of that drift, I dragged bottom a little bit, and there's so much gear has been lost out here. You've really got to be quick getting that rig up off the bottom. So far in 4 trips this spring, I've only lost 1 bucktail to the bottom, and that was on a known snag. I mean, I've only got 2 GPS marks in this whole area. That's all I need to work off of. One of them is precisely on a obstruction, and in fact, I'm fishing very close to that obstruction this trip, but I had one particular drift where I, on a previous trip, where I went right over it and hung it, lost a bucktail, but so far only 1. Hope I don't jinx myself. Close to a snag here. That would be 17. tell you that very crushed barb has cost me maybe a couple of strips, but not too bad. Close to the mark. It's a snag spot over here. Fishy spot though. About this drift. Yeah, this looks good here. Come on. There it is. Well, it was a hookup. I'm going to call it at least a hookup. Not done yet. Got him back. Or got another one, obviously. It's 19. Pressure's on to get 20. Alright, going for 20 hookups on 20 drifts. I was happy to get 10. If I don't get it, I don't get it. I'll jinx myself trying to get it. Good drift, really good. There's nobody where I was setting up, so it was easy. It's really, really well lined up there. Good spot. Come on, here they are. Come on. 4.8, almost 5 miles an hour drift. Oh, I don't have one yet. No time, not much time. Oh, there it is. There's 20 hookups on 20 drifts. And wow, so I think what amazes me the most is the timing. So all right, we're at 1 hour and 17 minutes. So let's call it 1 hour and 20 minutes just to make the math easy. So that's 80 minutes, 20 fish, 4 minutes per fish, and that includes running up current, which you saw is a lot of running up current. So yeah, quite remarkable. Yeah, you know, everything went well. I feel like I did everything right. I didn't get line tangles. I didn't get hung up on the bottom, you know, that kind of stuff. And yeah, just great to see all these fish. It's really been a good bite, but this was exceptional. Okay, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Check out my online courses at saltstrong.com/Skinner. And don't forget my books. And remember, those books make great Father's Day gifts. You can learn more about the books at johnskinnerfishing.com and on Amazon.